I'm Danielle Gilbert. Thank you so much for joining me today on ecountrylifestyle.com. We're going to be making some stuffed chicken breasts. We're going to stuff them with jalapeno, ginger, garlic, cilantro, squeeze a little lime over them, put them on the grill. They're going to be delicious. We're going to complement those with the cilantro lime rice and also some grilled vegetable skewers. Some squash, zucchini, tomatoes, onion. You get the idea. It's going to be great. So come with me. Let's see what we're doing next. Let's start getting our vegetable skewers prepared. I've already washed everything up and dried it off, so everything's ready to go. And actually, I'm using wooden skewers today, so I soaked these in water for a couple of hours before using them. That way they don't burn on the grill. So, what we're going to do first is just peel the zucchini. Not all the way, but we're just going to take a couple strips off of it. The skin tends to get kind of tough sometimes on the zucchini, so I just take about half of it off, and doesn't that look pretty? It'll look really nice on our skewers. And I'm actually going to do the same thing with this squash here. All right, that was easy enough, right? Let's get all this to the side. And why don't we start by chopping these up. We're just going to cut the ends off of each of them. We're going to cut these in rounds because we're going to skewer them kind of through the circle. And you want them fairly thick, but not too thick. You want them thin enough that they'll cook up well on the grill, but not too thick, you know, that they'll be tough when you bite them. So these are about maybe a ½ inch thick rounds. And just continue to cut the whole squash like that. So we're just going to start kind of an assembly line here to get these all situated once we've cut all of our vegetables. I've got an orange bell pepper here, and you could certainly use any color bell pepper that you want. I just chose orange because we have like the purple from the onion and the red from the tomato, so this is just one more color to add to the mix. Just keep it nice and pretty. Cut it like this. Remove this inside part right here as well as the seeds. Maybe cut that in half. And when you're cutting your bell peppers, you want to do the skin side, the outside of the pepper down. It's kind of hard for the knife to cut through that, so you have a little bit better control of the pepper when you cut like this. So we'll just go ahead and cut all these in half. You just want to take the outside of the onion off. You don't want any of that tough skin on your skewers. We're actually just going to go ahead and cut these right in half. Easy as that. Nothing to these skewers, guys, and they are so tasty and healthy, and I find that kids like to eat stuff off sticks. I know that I do, so this is a really great way to get your kids to eat their vegetables. So, all we're going to do now is take our skewers, and we're just going to do everything like this. Be careful when you're doing these so that you don't poke yourself. Just kind of maneuver it through the squash. It's kind of hard with these bigger pieces, but it'll get easier as we get down to the smaller ones. Doesn't really matter what order you do these in. They don't all have to look the same. They're going to be beautiful and delicious no matter what. So I'm just going to alternate the colors here and keep on making these. Alright, now that we've got everything skewered up, and it didn't take too long, and you know they're not all the same, so you're going to have to kind of watch them. All these big guys are going to take a little bit longer to cook than these little guys. But this is what you're going to do. It's totally simple. We're just going to put a little bit of olive oil on this grill pan. We're going to use the same pan to cook our chicken in just a little bit. Just kind of get that on there. And then just lay your skewers down like this. So they'll soak up all that olive oil. And we are going to salt and pepper them. Don't worry. If you don't have enough room on your grill, no big deal. You can just save these and do these the next time around. You can do 2 batches. So let's just sprinkle a little bit of salt. And as much or as little freshly cracked black pepper as you would like onto your skewers. And we'll let those go for just a little bit. We'll flip them in just a few minutes. It's not going to take too long for them to get tender and just get some grill marks on them. So we'll set these aside. We'll use those in just a couple of minutes. Now, what we're going to do over here is some cilantro lime rice. I got to be honest with you, I'm not very good at making rice. So we're going to use a 5-minute rice that we got out of the box. We have got 2 cups of water boiling away here in a little pot. And we are just going to add 2 cups of rice. I am going to go ahead and salt this just to add a little bit of flavor. You could certainly use chicken stock or any kind of other stock instead of water, but we're going to flavor this later with lime and cilantro, so it's going to have plenty of flavor as it is. So why don't we give this a stir, and we're going to cover this and remove it from the heat and just let this sit for a couple of minutes. Alright, so while our skewers are rocking away and while our rice is getting all incorporated, let's go ahead and talk about this chicken. I have got 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts here. What we're going to do is just cut some slits in these guys. We're going to stuff these, and you want to make sure you're not cutting all the way through the chicken. You just want to make a couple little pockets that you can stick some stuff in. Maybe 3 per breast. See that? Once you get down to the thin part here, you kind of might make a tear, but that's okay. Stuff's going to kind of fall out on the grill anyway. Really what we're trying to do is just season this chicken from the inside out. There we go. And once you do get down to the end here, you can cut it on more of an angle, not so deep, more of a shallow angled cut. Now generally, anytime I touch chicken, I would get right to washing my hands, but we're just going to be stuffing this chicken with the stuff that we're cutting right now. We're not going to use it for anything else. So I think we're okay. If you don't like spicy foods, feel free to omit the jalapeno from this recipe. It's not a big deal, but it does add some awesome flavor and that little bit of kick that we're looking for. So we're just going to roughly chop these. Nothing too fancy. We're also going to take some nice fresh basil leaves and just kind of take these off of the stems here. I'm going to show you a really easy technique right now called chiffonade, and this is just a method of cutting basil. So just take your basil leaves like this and just kind of make a pile with them. Just a little pocket of basil. Then we're going to take this and just kind of roll it up here as tightly as you can so nothing escapes. And let's just take our knife and just run it through there, making these thin, pretty little strips. And this makes an awesome garnish. This is great for pastas because it's not too overwhelming of a bite, but see how those strips are just perfect? This is going to be awesome for stuffing our chicken. So that's all done. Now all we need is some fresh ginger root. And a little bit of this goes a long way. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel this with a little paring knife. You could certainly do this with a vegetable peeler if you would prefer. But you don't need too much. You need about, I'd say, a tablespoon of this for 4 chicken breasts. And this meal is for 4 hungry people, by the way. But again, one of those easy meals that all you have to do is just add another piece of meat or another skewer, and you could feed even more people. So we're keeping it simple. Now all we're going to do is just mince this up. Just cut it up into some fairly thin slices here. And you can either stack these up or just kind of put them in a little pile and just run your knife through them. Ginger is so good. It's so fresh, and it kind of has almost a little spicy bite to it. So again, if you're afraid of the heat, maybe try a little piece of ginger before you decide to stuff your chicken with a bunch of it. It's really, really good stuff, and I use it all the time. So back to our garlic. We're just going to go ahead and mince this up.